Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into something pretty cool. The easiest Canadian provinces for permanent residency in 2025. We've got this YouTube video here from Canada Immigration, and they're talking about 4 provinces, ones you might not expect. You know, how everyone's always going on about Ontario and British Columbia. Well, this is about finding those hidden gem provinces. Just as amazing, but maybe a little less crowded, and with immigration programs that are a bit more, shall we say, welcoming.
It really is fascinating how some provinces are really stepping up to attract new people. They see the value immigrants bring, like fresh perspectives, different skills, and a real drive to build a better future.
Right. Okay, so first up, we're heading east to Nova Scotia. Picture this. Stunning coastlines, charming towns, and a surprisingly hot job market. And guess what? They've got not 1, not 2, but 3 immigration programs that could be your ticket to calling Nova Scotia home.
Nova Scotia is really making a name for itself in immigration. They've got the Nova Scotia Skilled Worker Program, the Critical Construction Pilot Program, and the Occupations in Demand Program, all designed to attract skilled workers in key sectors.
And here's the interesting part. These programs are all employer-driven, but wait, before you think you need to pack your bags, you don't actually have to be in Canada to get a job offer.
That's right. An employer in Nova Scotia can offer you a job, even if you're living in another country. It's a game changer for people planning their move. Let's say you're a construction project manager in Dubai, but you've always dreamed of living by the ocean. A Nova Scotian construction firm could see your experience and offer you a job, which paves the way for your Canadian dream.
Whoa, that's wild. And talking about construction, their Critical Construction Pilot Program is laser-focused on specific roles, like electricians, plumbers, and carpenters. If you've got those skills, your chances of getting PR just went way up.
Yeah. And for healthcare workers, Nova Scotia has an expedited pathway for registered nurses from some countries, including the Philippines, India, the UK, the US, Australia, and New Zealand. But it's important to note, you still need to meet those licensing requirements for Nova Scotia.
Right, so you don't have to be in Canada to get the job offer, but you do need to make sure your qualifications are good.
Exactly. It's all about being prepared and doing your research.
Okay, next. We're off to New Brunswick, another Atlantic province that's quietly making a name for itself in immigration. Their skilled worker program had to take a break in 2024. It was so popular, but it's coming back in 2025 strong. They're planning to invite a huge 14,500 skilled workers to apply for permanent residency.
And what's great about New Brunswick, they don't have those complicated tier restrictions, the ones you see in other provinces. Where jobs are categorized by skill level. Well, New Brunswick looks at whether your skills match what they need, regardless of your job title.
So it's not about having a fancy job title, it's about having the skills New Brunswick needs.
That's cool. It is. It makes things fair and gives everyone a fair chance. But like Nova Scotia, a job offer is usually needed.
Got it. So whether you're a chef or a software developer coding up the future, New Brunswick is open to you. But again, that job offer is key. So what's your advice for people who are starting to get excited about New Brunswick?
Don't wait for the program to launch to start your job search. Start exploring opportunities now, connect with employers, and be ready to go when applications open.
Great advice. All right, next province. We're heading west to Saskatchewan, a province known for its prairies, friendly people, and a growing autonomy. They've got 3 main pathways to permanent residency: the International Skilled Worker Program, the Health Pathway, and the Tech Pathway.
Now, this is where things change a bit. Saskatchewan's International Skilled Worker Program uses a point-based system. You need at least 60 out of 110 points to be considered. What's interesting is that having family in Saskatchewan can give you more points.
So if you've got a cousin in Saskatchewan who wants you to move closer, this could be your chance. Family connections can really help your application.
Yeah, for sure. It shows you have ties to the province and that you're likely to stay there.
Now let's talk about those special pathways for tech and healthcare. It seems like Saskatchewan is really trying to attract talent in these areas. What can you tell us about these pathways?
Well, they're designed to fast-track permanent residency for people in these fields. Like if you're a nurse practitioner from the Philippines, and you've always wanted to live somewhere with lots of space and a strong community, Saskatchewan's health pathway could be it.
Okay, so Saskatchewan wants healthcare professionals and tech people, but what about the rest of us? Is there still hope?
Of course. The International Skilled Worker Program is open to lots of jobs. And remember, family in Saskatchewan can really help you. Plus, Saskatchewan is known for welcoming people and affordable living, making it a good option for newcomers.
All right, last but not least, we're going to Manitoba, a province that's becoming known as a champion for international students and skilled workers. They've got some cool programs like the International Graduate Stream, the Career Employment Pathway, and the Skilled Worker Overseas program.
Manitoba is doing some really innovative things with immigration. They know it's important to attract young talent, and their programs show that. For example, the International Graduate Stream is for people who studied in Manitoba.
So if you've been studying in Manitoba for a year or more, and you've fallen in love with the province, this pathway can help you go from a student visa to permanent residency. That's awesome.
It is. And unlike some provinces, Manitoba doesn't have those tier restrictions. So graduates have more job options to choose from.
That's great for students who want to try different careers and find something they love. But wait, there's something else special about Manitoba. They have this program called the Skilled Worker Overseas program. And get this, it lets your friends or family in Manitoba sponsor you.
Yep, that's right. If you have a close friend or family member already living in Manitoba, they can help you immigrate. It's a great option if you have strong connections there. Imagine you're a skilled worker living in the UK, and your cousin in Manitoba keeps saying how much you'd love it there. Well, they could sponsor you through this program.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a built-in support system. And Manitoba is known for being welcoming and helping newcomers succeed. They have lots of services and programs to help immigrants settle in.
For sure, and with a lower cost of living and a high quality of life. Manitoba is a very attractive option for those looking for a fresh start in Canada.
So we've covered a lot in this first part. We've talked about 4 provinces you might not have thought of before: Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Each one is unique and has its own immigration programs, designed to attract skilled workers and help them build a new life in Canada.
And as we've seen, these provinces are making immigration as smooth as possible. They see the value newcomers bring, and they're making it easier to contribute their talents and build a better future.
It's really inspiring to see these provinces taking a different approach. We always hear about the big cities, but these smaller provinces are offering amazing opportunities, and often with a more personal touch.
It's amazing how they're making programs for specific needs. We talked about job offers, but it's not just about filling any job. It's about finding skilled people who can help them grow and fill those gaps in their workforce.
Yeah, it makes sense. They want to make sure newcomers can succeed and build a good life for themselves and their families. But I'm curious, what are some common mistakes people make when applying? Things that might trip them up?
One big mistake is not doing enough research. People need to know the specific requirements for each program. It's not enough to just have a job offer. It needs to fit the criteria. For example, in Nova Scotia's Critical Construction Pilot Program, the job offer has to be for a specific construction job that's in demand.
So it's not enough to be any construction worker. You got to be the right kind of construction worker. What else should people watch out for?
Another thing is not paying attention to details. Applications for Canadian immigration can be tricky. They need specific documents, and there are deadlines. If you miss something or send it late, it can delay everything.
Oh, I bet. It's like a puzzle. Every piece has to fit just right.
Speaking of fitting just right, Nova Scotia's Critical Construction Pilot Program really stood out to me. It seems like they know exactly where they need workers.
They do. They've been strategic. They're trying to get skilled tradespeople to meet the demand in construction. This program is good for their economy, and it gives skilled workers a chance for a new life in Canada.
It's a win-win, and we saw how Saskatchewan has those pathways for tech and healthcare. They're thinking ahead, trying to attract the people they'll need in the future.
Exactly. They know these industries are important for their growth, and they're being proactive.
Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about international students. Manitoba seems to be the best at making it easy for students to become permanent residents. That international graduate stream is pretty great.
It is. It's a fantastic program. For international students who have studied in Manitoba and want to stay and build a career there, not having those tier restrictions gives them so many options. They're not limited by their degree. So it's not just about getting any job after graduation. It's about finding a job you're passionate about. That's awesome. But besides no tier restrictions, what else makes Manitoba so attractive to international students? What kind of support do they offer?
Well, living in Manitoba is cheaper than some other provinces, which is good for students who don't have a lot of money. They also have a diverse community, so it's easier for newcomers to feel welcome and find help.
It sounds like they're really working hard to make people feel welcome. Now, I have to ask about the Skilled Worker Overseas program in Manitoba. The idea of having a friend or family member sponsor you for immigration is so cool. What do you think are the benefits of that?
It's a really smart way to use those existing connections. When you have someone in Manitoba vouching for you and helping you through the process, it can make things so much easier.
I bet it's reassuring to have someone who knows what's going on guiding you. It's like having a personal cheerleader. But realistically, not everyone has friends or family in Manitoba. What advice would you give to those people who are interested in Manitoba but don't have those connections?
Don't give up. While family connections can definitely help, it's not the only way to immigrate to Manitoba. They have other programs, like the Skilled Worker in Manitoba Stream and the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. Those are open to skilled workers from all over the world.
So even without those personal connections, there are still options. It's good to know. Now let's talk about something we don't always talk about with immigration. The emotional side. It's a huge change, moving to a new country. What would you tell someone who's feeling overwhelmed by the whole thing?
You're right, it's a big decision. And it's normal to feel all sorts of things. My advice would be to stay positive. And remember why you're doing this. Maybe you want a better life, more opportunities for your family, or a chance to experience a new culture.
Those are all great reasons to move, and remember, you're not alone. There's lots of help out there.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Connect with other newcomers. And join online groups. You can share experiences and advice. The Canadian immigration community is very supportive.
That's great to hear. It's like one big family.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this part, let's talk about something we mentioned earlier, doing your research. With so many programs and provinces, it can be a lot to take in. What are your best tips for figuring it all out?
The most important thing, start with the official government websites, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC. They're the main source of information. And each province has its own website too. These websites have all the details about who can apply, how to apply, and how long it takes.
Got it. Bookmark those websites, everyone. What else should we be doing while researching?
I'd also recommend talking to immigration consultants or lawyers, ones who specialize in Canadian immigration. They can give you personalized advice and help you figure out the tricky parts.
So having an expert can be helpful, especially if you're feeling lost.
Yeah.
Anything else we should be doing while researching?
Don't forget about networking, talking to other immigrants. Online forums, social media groups, immigrant support organizations, they can be really helpful. You can learn from people who've already done it and get insights you might not find anywhere else.
That's a great point. It's like learning from the experts. And it's not just about advice, it's about finding a community, knowing you're not alone.
Exactly. And who knows, you might even make some lifelong friends. Immigrating to Canada can be tough, but it's also really rewarding. It's a chance to start fresh, see new things, and build a better future.
And as we've seen, there are so many ways to do it, so many provinces ready to welcome you. It's all about finding the right fit for your skills, your goals, and your dreams. So keep researching, keep dreaming, and believe in the possibilities.
Welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive into the easiest Canadian provinces for permanent residency in 2025. We've already learned a ton about Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But the journey doesn't just end with research, right? What happens next? How do we actually take action? That's a great question. It's all about putting those research findings into practice. We've been talking a lot about job offers, so let's break down how to actually make that happen.
Okay, so let's say I'm sitting here, feeling all inspired, ready to make my Canadian dream a reality. Where do I even start looking for jobs? It feels a little bit overwhelming.
I understand. It can definitely feel like a lot at first, but don't worry, there are some great resources out there to help. One that comes to mind is Quest Jobs Online. They focus on connecting international job seekers with Canadian employers who are specifically looking for people from other countries.
Quest Jobs Online. Okay, I'm making a note of that. But with all the job boards and websites out there, what makes this one special?
Well, they're more than just job listings. They have resources and advice about the Canadian job market. They give you tips on how to write a good resume and cover letter. They even have information about specific immigration programs. It's like a one-stop shop for your Canadian job search.
Ah, that makes sense. So it's not just about finding any job, it's about finding the right job, one that matches your skills and the immigration program you're going for.
Exactly. That's where platforms like Quest Jobs Online can be so helpful. They can help you narrow down your search and focus on the right things.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But here's something I've been wondering. We've been talking about these 4 provinces, but Canada is a big place. What if I'm interested in a different province? One that wasn't mentioned today.
I love that you're thinking outside the box. Well, we've highlighted some provinces that are really making an effort. there are definitely other great options out there.
So how do we find those hidden gems? Do I just keep Googling Canadian immigration?
Well, Googling is a good start, but it takes more than that. It's about being curious, being open to new possibilities, and doing some digging. Check out the immigration websites for different provinces, look at online forums where immigrants share their experiences, and talk to immigration consultants who have a broad view of Canada.
So it's like being an explorer, finding my own path.
Exactly. And remember, just because a province isn't in the news doesn't mean it's not welcoming to immigrants. Sometimes those less popular provinces have a lower cost of living, a stronger sense of community, and even unique job opportunities.
I like that, going off the beaten path and finding that perfect province that no one else is talking about. But let's be honest, this whole process can be pretty overwhelming sometimes. What would you say to someone who's feeling lost or discouraged?
Well, it's important to remember that immigrating to Canada takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. There will be good times and bad times, moments of excitement and moments of frustration. The key is to stay focused on your goals, celebrate the small wins, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, it's like any big dream. It takes patience, hard work, and a willingness to learn.
Exactly. And there are so many resources available to help you. Immigration consultants, settlement agencies, online communities. There are tons of people who have been in your situation, and they want to help.
So don't try to do it alone. Reach out to people. Build a support network. Those people will help you through the tough times and celebrate the good times with you.
And never underestimate your own strength and determination. The fact that you're listening to this deep dive means that you're proactive and curious, and you're willing to put in the work. Those are great qualities to have on this journey.
Well said. It's not about being the perfect candidate. It's about being the right candidate for the right opportunity. And that often comes down to your attitude, your willingness to learn, and your determination.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the most amazing places. So keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep believing in the possibility of building a wonderful life in Canada.
That's a great note to end on. We've covered so much in this deep dive. We've explored 4 provinces that you might not have considered before: Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Each one has its own unique appeal and its own set of immigration programs designed to welcome skilled workers. But we also talked about the importance of going beyond the obvious, of exploring all of Canada and finding that perfect fit for you. And remember, the Canadian immigration journey can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. It's a chance to start fresh, to build a new life, and to create a brighter future. And as we've seen, there are so many paths to get there, so many provinces ready to welcome you with open arms. So keep researching, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep dreaming, because with the right mindset and a little bit of effort, that Canadian dream can become a reality. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring the world with curiosity and courage. Welcome back to our deep dive. We're talking about the easiest Canadian provinces for permanent residency in 2025. We've uncovered some great options in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. But it doesn't end there. Once we've done all this research, what's the next step? How do we actually get started?
Well, that's where the real work begins. We've talked a lot about how important job offers are, so let's get into the practical side of how to actually get one.
Okay, so let's say I'm feeling inspired and ready to go. Where do I even start looking for these job opportunities? It feels a little daunting.
It can be, for sure, but there are some great resources out there. One that really stands out is Quest Jobs Online. They specialize in connecting international job seekers with Canadian employers who are actively looking to hire people from overseas.
Quest Jobs Online, I'll have to check that out. But with so many job sites out there, what makes this one different?
They do more than just post jobs. They have resources and advice about the Canadian job market. They give tips on writing resumes and cover letters, and they even have information on specific immigration pathways. It's like a one-stop shop for your Canadian job search.
So it's not just about finding any job, it's about finding the right job, one that fits your skills and the immigration program you want to apply for.
Exactly. And that's where a platform like Quest Jobs Online can be a huge help.
Makes sense. But here's something I've been thinking about. We focused on these 4 provinces, but Canada is a big country. What if I have my heart set on a different province? One we didn't talk about today.
That's a great question. We've highlighted some provinces that are really proactive with immigration, but there are other great options too.
So how do we find those hidden gems?
It takes a bit more than just Googling Canadian immigration. You have to be curious, open to new possibilities, and willing to do some digging. Look at the immigration websites for different provinces. Check out online forums where immigrants share their experiences, and even talk to immigration consultants who have a wider view of Canada.
It's like being an explorer, isn't it?
Absolutely. And remember, just because a province isn't making headlines doesn't mean it's not open to newcomers. Sometimes those less talked about provinces have a lower cost of living, a stronger sense of community, and even unique job opportunities you won't find in the big cities.
I love that. Finding that perfect province that might not be on everyone's radar, but this whole process can feel pretty overwhelming. What advice would you give to someone feeling a bit lost or discouraged?
It's important to remember that immigrating to Canada is a journey. It takes time and effort. There will be ups and downs along the way. But the key is to stay focused on your goals. Celebrate the small wins. And don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it.
Yeah, it's like any big dream.
Exactly. And there are so many resources out there to support you. Immigration consultants, settlement agencies, online communities. There are tons of people who have been through this process, and they're ready to help.
It's great to know we're not alone in this.
Absolutely not. And never underestimate your own resilience and determination. Just by being here, listening to this deep dive, shows you're proactive, curious, and ready to put in the work. Those qualities will take you far.
Those are great qualities to have, for sure. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive. We've learned about the easiest Canadian provinces for permanent residency in 2025, explored amazing opportunities in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and even discovered how to uncover those hidden gem provinces. It's been an incredible journey. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring the world with curiosity and courage as